Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our bigger show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend over at infinityflux.net. Your pre-orders are due Sunday around 6 o'clock, so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. And this is a very big week with a lot of goodness to acquire.
Absolutely. Before we get started, though, we wanted to show you some cool new merch we have here because it is spooky season, which is our favorite time of year around here. So we have this cool new tote bag with a new spooky image designed by our very own Julia. This one does not glow in the dark, right?
No.
But I can attest, I have put a bunch of big boy books in here, and these things are really strong and durable. So we wanted to show you this. And if you like that design, we also have this really awesome t-shirt with the same design by Julia. And this one does glow in the dark. I believe it's the eyes, right?
Yeah.
The eyes glow in the dark?
If you can't tell, it does say Infinity Flux on the cat's back.
Yeah, a scared cat because it is scary season, spooky season. So we wanted to show you that. And we also have stickers of that in color. And if you order both the shirt and the tote bag from the website, you get the sticker for free. And it's very cool. So yeah, we just wanted to make sure that you knew about our awesome new spooky merch.
Yep, now that it is officially October and time to wear them. I wore mine the other day when we did our live video.
Yeah, I wore last year's design, the pumpkin with the knife in it. Very cool stuff.
But let's get on with our books this week, starting out with our featured comics.
And we're going to start with Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds #1. This is written by Ryan Little and other artists, and then various artists as well. This is going to be the first appearance in comics of Kahhori, who is the original character from the season 2 of What If. I don't remember which episode it was, but the What If series on Disney Plus. She was first introduced there, and now she is being introduced into the comics, and she's entering the 616 universe. So I don't know if there's going to be multiversal shenanigans that pulls her into that, or if she's just going to be there all of a sudden. Not really sure which. But this is going to be an anthology book that features exciting guest stars, and also is going to feature the comics debut of some extraordinary creators as well. So we're going to get our Kahhori for the first time in comics, and also some other comic creators, their first work as well. So this should be really cool. And I don't know if it's one story that different people work on, or if it's multiple stories. I'm not quite sure on that one.
Yeah, maybe they're all telling stories about this character.
Yeah.
Because we did just have the Marvel Voices Ghost Rider.
Right. Oh,
which did have a couple of creators on it. So it's probably very similar to that.
Yeah, so very excited for this one. This is our A cover right here. We have a Maria Wolf variant, and we have the Marvel Animation variant. That looks cool.
Yeah, very cool. Next up, we have a new one-shot from DC. This is Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees #1. So this is really interesting. It's cool that they're kind of doing this little crossover, and it's just a one-shot. But this is going to be written by the current writer of Poison Ivy, G. Willow Wilson, and the art is by Mike Perkins. And in this, there is something wrong with the trees and the green. The green, the force that combines all of nature and everything that Swamp Thing is a part of. There's something deep within it that feels evil, that is clawing its way to the surface and wants blood. And of course, this kind of sends off red flags within the green. And so the Parliament of Trees, which is kind of the spokespeople of the green, call upon Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy to investigate what is going on here. What is this thing that's hidden in the green? And they're going to follow this trail of carnage caused by whatever entity this is to the very heart of this homicidal wilderness. So very, very cool. I got to sample this book. It is just a really cool idea. I really like these characters together. It is definitely on the darker side, which I think works really well for a story like this. So you don't want to miss out on this, especially if you're currently reading Poison Ivy.
Bummer that it's only a one-shot, though.
I do. I think it's a bummer. This, I think, could have been a really cool Black Label miniseries, but Still, check it out here. This is our A cover. We have a Mike Perkins cardstock variant. We have a Clayton Crane variant.
That's nice.
And a Jessica Fong variant.
Next up is It Happened on Hyde Street, Devour. So this is a one-shot. This is written by Maytal Zoot, and the art is by Leela Lees and Alex Sinclair. A one-shot set in the Hyde Street universe. I don't really want to... I hesitate to say that because it's not like you're trying to establish this big universe, but we are going to meet another character that we first heard about in Hyde Street, #1 that came out last week. It was really good. So, or was it this week?
This week.
Oh, was it this week? Okay. We read it last week. My bad.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
So in this one, there is a woman named Lily. She is struggling to lose some weight in order to fit into her wedding dress, and her grandmother tells her about a miracle supplement called Devour, and you can see the big old jug of it right there on the cover. She says that will do the trick. However, this supplement is peddled by a mysterious health guru named Miss Goodbody, and that is one of the names we saw on the Souls scoreboard at the end of Hyde Street #1. So we met in that issue. We met Mr. X-Ray, we met Pranky, and now this is going to introduce us to Miss Goodbody. And we know that there's a whole bunch of other characters that we have to meet too. I don't know if they're going to be introduced in the pages of Hyde Street or if they're going to get their own one-shots like this too. Either way, I'm on board. It just says, is taking Devour worth the cost? You said not so much.
It's not so much worth the cost. This is a very twisted one-shot that goes from, you see the backstory of the grandmother all the way to the granddaughter that's getting married, and how drastically this has altered this family's life and their priorities, and all of that is really, really messed up. And yeah, it has quite a few ties with Hyde Street. You'll even see some familiar faces.
Okay.
So I definitely think if you read Hyde Street and you're like, yeah, this is awesome, I want more of this, don't miss out on this one because it is set firmly within that world.
Yeah, very cool. And when I saw that scoreboard at the end of Hyde Street #1, I was like, wow, there are a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to meet all of them. So again, this is just a one shot, but definitely pick it up if you liked Hyde Street. This is our A cover, and then we have a B cover.
That's by the interior artist, Layla Lees.
Nice.
Next up, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Naruto #1. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries, and who won't the Ninja Turtles crossover with?
Right.
They will, go through any door, end up in any world. This is going to be by Caleb Goliner, and the art is by Hendry Prasetya. And in this, it took me a little while to fully understand, because at first I didn't understand from the solicitation how this all worked, but I kind of read ahead to future issues, and it all started to come together that the Ninja Turtles in this exist within the Naruto world, this version of that world, because we have April has a clandestine meeting with the leader of the Hidden Leaf Village. And at first I was like, oh, does April go across universes or whatever? No, this is... April exists in this world, and she goes to interview. And this gets the attention of Naruto and friends, who, of course, live in the Hidden Leaf Village. But the Foot Clan also have interest in April's research. She's doing research on mutagen, and that is being done by Baxter Stockman, which is being conducted. So I'll be interested to see this version of characters like April and Baxter. And she will be caught in the middle of this kind of war between the Foot Clan and the Turtles of Big Apple Village, which sounds like a fun version of New York in this, as they try to protect April from all the ninja shenanigans going on. So I think it sounds really cool. I love the design of the turtles in here. They have way more of kind of a ninja vibe
I like
to them.
Leonardo's look. I like how
he's got the shoulder pads and everything. So I think this is really cool. This will be good if you're a Ninja Turtle fan, Naruto fan. Maybe you've never experience one or the other.
Yeah.
I think this will be a fun introduction.
And this, it kind of reminds me of, from back in the late 70s, the Superman Spider-Man crossover, or the Hulk and Batman one, because in those ones they didn't try to explain,
Yeah.
oh, we hopped universe. They just did it. They were just there. It didn't matter how they got there, if they had always existed together. They just told a story of them together. And this sounds like that, and I really like that. Don't worry about multiversal shenanigans.
Just have fun with it.
Just have fun with it, yeah.
Yeah, so this is an awesome A cover by Jorge Jimenez,
Mhm.
your artist on Batman. We also have a Prasetya variant, so that's your interior artist. We've got one by Amor, Moncayo, Frederici, and Duncan. Parentheses. Seeing if I could get through all those parentheses. This is the 40th anniversary variant by Duncan.
Nice. Well, next up is Aliens vs. Avengers number 2, and we wanted to put this one near the top of the show because the first one came out at least probably a month ago or so, and it was really good, really well received. But for some reason, there's a big gap in the release of the first issue and the release of this one, because this one doesn't come out until November 6th, but the last one came out like early September or something like that. So big gap, but we wanted to make sure that you knew if you enjoyed the first one. Now number 2 is on FOC this weekend. We don't have a lot of information about this. We do know that the world has been overwhelmed by xenomorphs, and the survivors abandon Earth. They'd abandoned their home planet, but so many are dead, so many are wounded, and there are a few that have changed in some way, shape, or form. And it just says the Avengers must avenge, because that's what they do best. Although reading the first one, they didn't really call themselves the Avengers. No. It was more just like, that's who's left.
Yeah, who's left. If they're together, then I guess they're the Avengers.
Yeah, but don't miss the second issue if you like the first one. I want to see where this goes. I want to see if they do meet up with Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah, because this cover actually is a little bit more accurate to what the characters look like in the book.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. So there's our A cover. We have a Andrea Sorrentino variant, and there is a Matthias Manhanini variant. Ooh, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like Hulk just popping one of them like a grape.
Yeah. Gosh, Hulk and Thor, it seems like they could just wipe them all out pretty easy.
Next up, we have Negasonic Teenage Warhead number 1. This is just going to be a one-shot that is collecting the Negasonic Teenage Warhead Marvel digital comics, if you have the Marvel Unlimited app, but also going to be containing a brand new story as well. So this is by Andrew Wheeler, and the art is by Eleonora Carlini. And in this, you have Ellie Thimister. Is that how her last name is? I've never actually seen her name. We'll just say Ellie. She is accused by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, of a crime she hasn't committed yet. Now she has to go on the run to stop herself before the TVA does, and it all comes down to a single moment. Ellie has 1 hour to find Yuki Ohara, which if you've seen the Deadpool movies, you know Yuki. Her girlfriend from the future she hasn't even met yet, and Deadpool is there to help make it better or worse. So it's a race against time and the Time Variance Authority. So this does collect the first appearance of Yuki, which will be the first print version of that.
I thought she was from the comics.
I looked it up, and her first appearance is in the Marvel Unlimited digital first comic, which I thought was crazy because I could have sworn she was too, but plus a new story from the same creative team. So if you've read all those digital ones, it still gives you a reason to pick this one up as well. So I think this sounds really cool. We've got our A cover here, and we have an Audrey Mock variant.
Next up is a new book from Dark Horse called Arcbound. This is the first issue. This is written by Tom Hardy, as in the actor Tom Hardy, and also Scott Snyder and Frank Thierry. The art is by Ryan Smallman. And this is set, so it sounds like a bit of a sci-fi book. This is set in a future where Earth has become a barren wasteland. And I guess this is maybe like some kind of mega corporation or something called Xenotech. It says it harnesses the unmatched energy of chromium to assert its dominance across the stars. And this is centered around a character named Kai, who is a rising star mediator in Xenotech's army. So I don't know if maybe Xenotech is maybe like a private military company or maybe some kind of police force. I'm not sure. But this character Kai gets an unexplained message from a mysterious entity, and that causes everything he thinks he believes to get thrown into question. And he leaves to explore what it truly means to be a human in a world where the boundaries of technology and identity blur. So sounds a little bit maybe like a little bit Blade Runner esque, a little bit of technology and society connecting. But yeah, so this
Maybe a
sounds really
little
cool.
Mad Max.
Right, there you go. Well, this sounds a little bit more dystopian future, not like
Yeah,
post-apocalyptic.
yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds cool anyway. So that's our A cover. That's your interior artist. So that's what it's going to look like. There's a Dan Panosian cover. There is a man cover, Clayman, and then there is a Tyler Kirkham cover.
So I think it's interesting. The main character, I guess, could look a little bit like Tom Hardy, but they didn't go like photorealistic,
Right,
which they do with a lot of
like Berserk, like oh,
yeah,
that's Keanu Reeves. Yeah,
yeah. But this wave of actors being involved in comics now is really cool.
yeah.
Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 61. We wanted to spotlight this because it's kind of a new jumping on point or a new entry point into Amazing Spider-Man as Joe Kelly takes on writing duties, at least for a couple of issues, to start off this new story arc. We've wrapped up the one by Zeb Wells, or we will be very soon. And yeah, this will be a great new one to jump onto if you haven't been reading Amazing Spider-Man, because you're going to have Ed McGuinness on art, which is all the reason you need to get on
Yep.
it. And this is called The Eight Deaths of Spider-Man, and I feel like this is going to be a big lead into next year's One World Under Doom story, because we have Doom, of course, at this point. He is now the Sorcerer Supreme, and usually with the Sorcerer Supreme, they have regular jobs they've got to do to kind of maintain the balance in magic and all these forces. And one of those is every year this evil god rises up with its scions, and it would have been up to Doctor Strange or whoever was the Sorcerer Supreme to put him down. But Doom is, he's a big picture guy,
Yeah.
and he wants to leave some of these jobs to some underlings, and that includes Spider-Man, who he bestows a magic suit, which you'll see. I'm not sure if it's on any of these covers, but you'll see it. It's a really interesting looking suit, and also imbues him with 8 lives, which I think is interesting. And so it sounds like we're going to see through this story arc Spider-Man die at least 8 times.
Right.
Which is going to be interesting. And
Or I guess 7 times because the eighth one would be
8.
yeah.
He might just be
yeah.
gone. But it sounds really fun. I love this resurgence of Doom being a big character.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a lot of fun and very different for Spider-Man. So if you want to maybe get in on some of the ground floor stuff of the upcoming Doom story that's going to be coming up very soon, I think this is a good place. So we've got our A cover right here. We have our Aaron Cooter The Thing variant, which some of these are calling The Thing variants and some are Marvel 2-in-1.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Which makes sense because Marvel 2-in-1 was basically a Thing team-up
Yeah.
book. But yeah, I don't know why they call them different. But yeah, there are more of these throughout the show, and they're really fun. I
Yeah.
like these a lot.
We also have this Gleb Melkinov variant. We've got our Disney crossover variants they've been doing. This time, Avengers Disassembled, which was a really good story.
Yep.
We also have the Scotty Young variant, and he's doing this new series. Does it say what it's called? Oh, it's just the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, but every issue of this is a different way someone is swatting or trying to kill a little spider.
Those are going to look great together. Yeah. Well, next up is a new book from Ablaze called Parliament of Rooks. This is the first issue written by a friend of the show, Richard Starkings, and Abigail Harding. And then Abigail Harding also does the artwork on this. And this one is about a guy named Darius Ravenscar. He is an architect. He awakens from a strange dream one night and heads off to the city of Iborvik to show the princess some of his architectural designs. But when he arrives there at the masquerade ball they're having, it quickly becomes clear that something is terribly wrong. So it sounds like a great book. This comes out on October 30th, so right in time for, you can still read it, the first issue during spooky season. It sounds like a nice spooky book, period piece, which is all I need to know. And our buddy Richard and Abigail are the writers on this, creators on this. So yeah.
This was originally a Comixology original
Okay.
story. Now it's being published, but because of that, it was this last San Diego Comic Con nominated for an Eisner for best, I think, digital independent comic. And yeah, this is really incredible. And we've had Richard here. You know, he's here all the time.
Yeah.
Abigail has come and visited us, so we are very close to this and really supportive.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
everyone needs to pick it up.
Definitely. So we have our A cover by Abigail, and also there's the black and white version as well.
Next up, we have Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, #2. Speaking of Richard, his name is on the cover of this one too because he is the letter of all of the Long Halloween books. This is continuing. We just got the #1 of this last week. And yeah, really, really good. Great to return to Jeff Loeb's Long Halloween version of the Batman universe. Sadly, without Tim Sale after his passing. But people who were close to him or inspired by him lending their hands. In this issue, the art is going to be by Klaus Janson, who, you know, has worked in the comic industry for decades now. And in this issue, Batman and Robin descend into the hellish depths of Arkham Asylum, seeking answers and coming face to face with some of the city's most nefarious criminals. That is the whole point of Long Halloween, has always been to kind of spotlight the villains. The you know, you've got the holiday killer, but also through that we get so many more awesome Batman rogues. That, yeah, if you've read Long Halloween, you know exactly how big a deal this is. So this is our A cover by Tim Sale. We also have a Klaus Janson cover where they're doing these kind of police lineups for each of them. We have this beautiful J. Scott Campbell cover, which I think really captured the colors of the Long Halloween.
Yeah. Next up is Kid Maroon #1, a new book from Vault. This is written by Christopher Cantwell and Victor Santos, and Victor Santos also does the art. So Kid Maroon is actually a boy detective who first premiered way back in the 1940s in a bunch of comic strips and things like that. And now, for the first time in 75 years, he is getting a new book. And his real name is Walden Maroon. And 2 years prior to this, he outgrew his small town life, his loving parents, and I love it. It says the low stakes mysteries involving missing butterflies and stolen cookies. He longed for more. He yearned for more, I guess. So since then, he has dwelled in the cesspit of Crimeville, where murders, vice, and corruption are the city's bread and butter. And there is a string of horrific killings and arsons that he gets wrapped up in. And it says, can he crack the case with his quick wits and his slingshot, which I really love. Just the idea of this, like, hard-boiled 12-year-old kid who is trying to solve all these murders and arsons, and he's got a slingshot in his back pocket in case anybody messes with him. So this sounds like a whole lot of fun. I'm sad to say I'm unfamiliar with this character. I had to look it up. But I wanted to maybe try to track down some of the old comic strips and check this when it comes out too.
It's a little like Bazooka Joe or something like that.
But like a grizzled Bazooka Joe, basically. So it sounds like a lot of fun. So this is our A cover by Victor Santos. So that's your interior artist. There's a Michael Avon Oming variant. There is a Cahoon manga homage to...
Case Closed.
Conan Boy Detective.
The first volume of that.
Yeah, there's a Sin City homage, which is great. And there is a Delineus barf bag variant also. It looks like they barf on the bag instead of in it.
Yeah, I think that might be one of, like, a polybagged.
Okay.
So, who knows what's inside.
I mean, there's a tooth in there. I hope they're not puking up teeth.
Yeah, that means you need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Absolute Batman. We wanted to spotlight Absolute Batman second printing because the first printing that comes out this coming Wednesday is sold out at the distributor level. Yeah, we've got it right here. We're going to be rereading it this weekend, getting ready for our Monday show.
Our Monday show is basically just going to be our early comics Absolute Batman show because we could talk about this like all day long. It's so good.
So we wanted to show you because hopefully we'll have plenty of it that you can either order from us or come to the store and get. But if you somehow missed out, your store may be out of it. You can order a second printing of that as well. Also, let's see how many printings this goes to, because I imagine that we're in store for
Yeah,
another
I'm thinking 4 minimum.
4 minimum is
Minimum,
good.
yeah.
I could see up to 6,
I mean,
7.
Ultimate Spider-Man #1, isn't it on like eighth printing,
Yeah,
something like
Transformers
that?
#1
Yeah,
is up to a ton, so don't miss out on this. Plus, they're doing a lot of cool variants for this. Also, want to say, if you got the All In, which is the first appearance of Absolute Batman, if you bought it with us, you get the new exclusive Justice League card that are coming out. And for issue #1 of Absolute Batman coming up next week, you will be able to get the Superman card.
right.
So, check with us because all your orders will get that while supplies last. But we've got our awesome A cover here for the second printing. We also have this Mike Diodato variant. I feel like every artist now is having a lot of fun with this new design. And we have a Nick Dragotta foil variant, which that is a panel from the comic.
Yeah. And we won't harp on it here too long because we're going to save that for Monday. But this book is awesome. Believe the hype. It's every bit as good as you think it will be. This book is amazing. One of the best books I've read all year so far.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
Next up, we got other #1s, and there is quite a few of them. Starting with
Rome Eternal #1. This is written by Homero Rios and the artist by Diego Yper. And this is actually set in a world where the Roman Empire never fell. But now it stands on the brink of collapse. The Roman society in this story thrived for 2,000 years, evolving into a technological and military powerhouse. But its immense power has caused a lot of corruption to be bred in this society, making it vulnerable to a group of unique and fanatical individuals known as the Mithra Mysteries. And some people consider those guys to be terrorists, but others consider them to be heroes. And their leader reveals his bold plan to assassinate the emperor. No one within Rome is safe after that, So yeah, just an interesting, Magma Comics has been putting out a bunch of really interesting books, and here is sort of an Elseworlds where Rome is still Rome in present day, I guess. So it sounds really cool. This is our A cover by Yper, which that's your interior artist, and then there is a Qua variant.
It's pretty epic. Okay, next up we have a new book from Dark Horse. Welcome to the Maynard, and this is by also longtime comics writer James Robinson, and art by Jay Bone. And this is really cool. So this is a new magical world and a tale of crime and theft. In a world of hospitality, there's a hotel called the Maynard, and there's no other hotel like it because this is a hotel for wizards and witches and magical folk and creatures and all of that. And we follow our character right here named Pip, and she begins her first day as the hotel's new bellhop and trainee and house detective. So she is, for all the crazy stuff that goes on here, she is the one they call, and that includes magical thefts and other weird goings on in the hotel where everyone who works there has a little bit of magic in them. I think this sounds really, really fun, and I like the kind of it's all set within this one hotel and all the weird people that pass through there. So we've got our A cover for that, and we have a Chris. Is this the Chris Samney variant?
No, the first one was Samney.
Okay.
Maybe they're flipped.
That's the Chris Samney, and then this one is the Fabio Moon variant.
Next up is Blood Squad 7 Strikefile. This is a one-shot that runs alongside the Blood Squad 7 series, which is basically, if Image still had the rights to Youngblood, this would just be Youngblood. But they don't anymore, so they created this Blood Squad 7 as a stand-in to tell this story they wanted to tell. Written by Joe Casey, art by Paul Fry. This is an extra size issue. Like I said, just a one-shot, but it is extra size. And it poses the question, whatever happened to Man of War that you see here on the cover? After several decades, the cyborg super soldier resurfaces, and Blood Squad 7 is deployed to bring him in. But is he an ally or an enemy? And this is going to guest star Super Patriot, which we love. Eric Larson, Super Patriot. I always love when he pops up in the pages of Savage Dragon. So yeah, just more really cool. I love, this and Local Man. I love this resurgence of new Image books that feel like they could have come out in the 90s. They're a lot of fun.
Even using the term Strikefile
Oh,
is
for sure,
like a
yeah.
classic
Yeah,
Image thing to
absolutely.
do.
The font that's the Youngblood font, I
Yeah.
believe. So this is our A cover by Paul Fry. That's your interior artist, and there's a Walker variant.
Yeah, that's a Corey Walker variant, your original artist on Invincible. And the artist, they did a Super Patriot miniseries with Robert Kirkman about Super Patriot, drawn by Corey Walker. So
Nice.
just really cool. There's so many levels to these Image books that homage themselves and the history of Image. Next up, we have the return of Black Hammer with Black Hammer Spiral City #1. This takes place after Black Hammer: The End series, and of course, this is by Jeff Lemire, the creator of the Black Hammer world, and art is by Teddy H. Christensen. And this is really cool. So it's a brand new cast of characters struggling to survive in a chaotic new world set to destroy them. I'm not sure how much is going to be like fresh from, is this a new jumping on point if you hadn't read the end, or how much is this a continuation? But I do like the idea that there are new characters within this. And yeah, so Black Hammer universe is still going strong.
I wonder if his name is Ant-Man because he's a big ant.
Well, that character he was one of the, I think, like the forgotten characters.
Okay.
The like old pulp characters that disappeared after no one published them anymore. And you'll see that on the variant cover. So we've got our A cover right here. That is your interior artist. And we have a Mike Mignola variant with that character, which is like, he's like the Cricket or something like that. He was a really fun character that popped up in that series. And we've got a Wagner variant there with some of your classic characters from Black Hammer from the original series. And a Duncan Fegredo variant as well.
Next up is Borderlands Moxxi's Mysterious Memento, #1 of 4. This one is written by Amy Chu, the artist by Mike Norton. And Siren Amara misses the fame and excitement of her glory days. Common stooges nowadays don't even know who she is, but they do eventually find out. And in order to reclaim the heights of her former heroics, she needs a gig, which is great because coincidentally, Moxxi needs help recovering a mysterious artifact. So it sounds like they're going to work together to accomplish their goals that they want to accomplish. So if you're a big fan of Borderlands, definitely don't miss this out. This is going to be a really cool tie into the game. And this is our only cover.
Yeah, great creative team on there too with Amy Chu and Mike Norton, which I love Mike Norton's art. Okay, next up, this is kind of a personal thing that I put this so high up. This could have gone in the graphic novel section, but I wanted to talk about it. So this is Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown. This is actually a hardcover. This is going to be $24.99, and this is written and drawn by Mike Mignola, which we don't get that much anymore. Written and drawn by Mike Mignola. A lot of the BPRD stuff and the Hellboy ancillary tales that come out now are co-written by Mike Mignola, but he's mostly kind of scripting, but not doing the dialogue and that kind of stuff. So to get him back on a project that he's also drawing is a really big deal. We haven't got too many of those. And this one sounds really fun. It's a new folklore-inspired tales from the search for the beating heart of a long-dead sorcerer to a pirate girl who makes a deal with the devil. Mike Mignola is back and builds a brand new world filled with weird, whimsical, and wicked characters. So I know there was talks about a kind of new, not related to Hellboy, but another universe that he was potentially going to start. And I'm not sure if this is that, but it does sound like, builds a brand new world. It does sound like maybe these are all within the same sphere somehow. So I'm super excited about this. I'm a huge Mike Mignola fan, and I can't wait to get some more new stories.
You went mad with power rearranging the books.
That is the power I have, and I will use it without restraint. And just the one cover.
Next up is Exit City #1. This is a new book from Mad Cave. This is written by Mark London. The art is by Carl Mostert. And this is set in the same universe as Revolution 9, which we talked about. It was either this past Monday or the Monday before that. I get my weeks mixed up. but it's set in the same universe as Revolution 9 and also Hour of the Wolf, which just came out, I think, this week, or maybe it was last week.
Yeah.
It's fairly recent as well. This features two detectives named McCormick and Miller. They're going to have to work together through a web of seedy criminals, genetic experiments, and a crooked government to solve a mystery of this brutal accident. Because there's something weird with this. Like, they work with this, like, special crimes unit, but there is an accident that happens one night, but they're called in when normally they wouldn't handle this kind of stuff. So they know that there's something more to it and that they're going to have to try to figure out what that is. But McCormick is hiding a secret that would make anyone question his capabilities. So I'm not sure what that is, but I have to see what that's about. I did not read Hour of the Wolf, but I did read Revolution 9. I thought it was pretty good. So it's cool that we already have 3 books kind of set in this new universe. I wonder if they'll ever cross over or whatever. But we have an A cover right here, and then we have a Shane Connery variant.
Very creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we have our next installment in the Gun Honey / Heat Seeker universe. This is Heat Seeker Combustion, so this will be the second miniseries about Heat Seeker, or Dolly Eraser is the character who appeared in Gun Honey a little bit, then got her own spinoff. This is by Charles Arde, and the art is by Ace Continuado. And in this, we have Dolly Racer. She's back on the job, and she has to stop a biological weapon that could kill millions and face a beautiful mercenary unable to feel heat, cold, fatigue, or pain.
Okay.
So if you like the hard case crime stories they've been putting out, they've all been so much fun and just kind of a breath of fresh air with, against the superhero books and everything. You don't want to miss this one. We've got our A cover here. And we also have this Lee variant. There's a bunch of other covers too, so go on infinityflux.net and check them all out.
Next up is Dwellings, the All Hallows Eve special. Dwellings is really cool. It kind of reminds me of, even though this came first, it kind of reminds me of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, in that it looks super cutesy, but there's all kinds of just macabre imagery in it. Like I said, Dwellings came before that, but it's kind of the same thing. But more super cutesy artwork with really spooky surroundings. So this is written and drawn by Jay Stevens. And this is about a guy named Wolfgang Legant. He is convinced that he is a seasoned vampire hunter. So he comes to the town of Elwich, which is where Dwellings is set, to drive a stake through the town's thriving goth subculture.
Oh, gosh.
But he's going to meet a girl named Emmeline Memento, a young woman who believes that she's a real vampire. So he thinks he's a vampire hunter. She thinks he's a vampire. She thinks she's a vampire. And irrational faith may be the only thing capable of stopping a mass murder in the making. I have a feeling, just having read a couple of the Dwellings books, I have a feeling somebody's going to die in this. I don't know how many people, maybe not mass, but somebody's going to bite it in this one. So yeah, another cool book for spooky season. Comes out on October 30th, so it's right in time. You can read this right on Halloween. So this is our A cover by Jay Stevens, and there is a Katie Skelly variant.
Yeah, you really liked the main series when it was coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun.
Next up, we have the Penguin Special #1. So this is interesting. This is going to be a collection of stories that are classic Penguin stories. So not all new in this one, but this will have Detective Comics 58, the first appearance of Penguin, stories from Secret Origin Special #1, which tells some of the origin of Penguin. But there is a new story in here by Jeremy Adams and art by Howard Porter that shows Penguin's next big move in the all-in era of DC. So there is one current continuity story in here that I think is really, really cool and perfect in time to coincide with the Penguin show that just started on HBO. So if you are jonesing for more Penguin, I think this is going to be cool. And I just really want to see what's he up to currently in the DC universe.
And can I just say, I just love seeing the classic Bullet logo on the cover again. Oh, golly, it's one of my favorite parts of this whole thing, is just having that logo on there.
Yeah, but just the one cover for this one.
Well, next up is Wonder Woman Uncovered, and just like all of the other Uncovered books, this is a collection of covers. I haven't looked through them, but you said they sort of do put a little bit of dialogue too to try to
Yeah,
weave a story
usually
together.
the character it's spotlighting will kind of narrate through every so many
Yeah.
pages. Harley Quinn was a big one where she kind of pointed out goofy things and talked about characters that were featured in
Yeah.
the covers and stuff. So
Very cool. Well, we're getting a Wonder Woman version of that as well that comes out right at the end of October. So this is our A cover, well, by Daniel Sampere. Yeah, I guess he drew all the different styles, which
yeah,
is really cool. And then there is a Drew Edward Johnson cover as well. And there's a Jeff Spokes variant and a Daniel Sampere foil variant. So the foil version of the A cover.
very cool. Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that have either started or haven't started yet, but we got to keep ordering them because starting off, we have Star Wars Ewoks #2. #1 will be coming out next week, and we'll be talking about it on the Monday show. And I can't wait to check it out because this is actually set after Return of the Jedi. So, what is going on with the Ewoks after the fall of the Empire and after maybe the rebellion's just packing up and leaving? We'll have to see. But in this one, Zuckuss and Forlom, you see them on the cover, invade Bright Tree Village, and it's up to Wicket and Ewok warrior Midro to defend the village. And it says also, who is the Red Ghost? Which I'm not sure, but I do know the character from
Marvel with the super apes. Yeah.
the super apes. Hopefully, it's a crossover with that.
Oh, that would be
we'll
great.
Have to see. But I can't wait to check out issue #1 of this. We've got our A cover here. We've got a Dave Watcher variant where they've brought down an ATST. And we have the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant, which is, I believe, your new character, Midro.
Oh, okay.
Who I think is going to appear in the first episode. But he looks pretty tough with a skull
Yeah,
helmet.
I love the idea that after the Battle of Endor, the rebellion just pieced out and they just left the big, and then you watch like, what? Wait a minute, you didn't help us clean up any of this stuff,
It's fine. They'll eat them. They'll eat
That's
all the
true.
corpses
Yeah.
that are left of the stormtroopers.
That's what the book is about. There's not really a story. It's just them cleaning up and eating corpses of stormtroopers and
just piling up helmets.
yeah,
and stuff.
repurposing ATSTs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up is Conquest 2099 #3. Now, we haven't gotten #1 yet. That comes out next week, and we'll be talking about it on Monday. But we're already at the FOC for issue #3. And in this one, so most notably, this is the first appearance of White Widow 2099, who I don't see on the cover there. But to stop Dracula, Spider-Man is going to blast into hyperspace with the help of Nova and Red Hulk 2099, and we've seen them in the Annihilation 2099 series. And Earth becomes Spider-Side 2099's next target for Conquest. And Darkhawk, I guess there's going to be... Was there a Darkhawk in the last one?
I think there was at one point. I think there was a Darkhawk.
Because it does say Darkhawk is unleashed upon a system's sun. Can Star-Lord save the billions of lives hanging in the balance? So it's always kind of a challenge to talk about these books when we haven't read the first one. I don't quite understand the full context and where everybody is. But like I said, we'll be talking about issue 1 on Monday.
And I'm not sure if this is this weekly also? When does this
one come out? This one comes out on November 13th. So
okay,
I guess
so
not. Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess it's like bi-weekly maybe?
I think it might be bi-weekly then because the previous series was a weekly series. A couple of them were weekly. Yeah. But it does feel like since we're already talking about #3 and #1 is about to come out,
right,
they are going pretty fast.
Definitely faster than monthly for sure.
Yeah.
So we have our A cover. We have a Ken Lashley frame variant as we have with all these books. And there's a Pete Woods variant.
I love
Red Hole. Yeah, that's really cool.
Next up, we have Lilith #2. We just got #1 of this book. It was a lot of fun, really dark, by Corin Howell. And in this one, Lilith, who is a kind of a demon stranded on Earth, has found the Book of Babylon, an ancient text that could get her home. But it is in the hands of Penelope, who we saw in the first issue, who is a super talkative bookstore owner that's just kind of a chatterbox. And Penelope is the only one who can read this book. So Lilith will begrudgingly have to work with Penelope and maybe reveal that she's this demon that eats people. We'll have to see. But #1 was great. It was super violent as Lilith ate people down to their bones.
But you said it wasn't like King Shark snapping somebody's head off. She actually
She dined.
yeah, she
She
dined
dined
on people.
the
Yeah.
bodies. So, but if you like number one, definitely check out number two. And this also has two black bag variants as well, but there's no need showing those because they're just black
Yeah.
bags.
Next up, we have Mark Spears' Monsters #2. The first one of this came out this week or the week before, very, very recently, written and drawn by Mark Spears. There's a ruthless terrorist group called the Overmen. They launch a daring infiltration of a heavily guarded military complex, retrieving an ancient and powerful artifact known as the Witch Stone. But while all of that's going on, the Monster Slayer seeks a meeting with an old adversary determined to uncover the fate of his missing friend. So don't miss out on this one if you enjoyed the first one. We have this A cover. We have a creature feature cover, and with the black creature of the Black Lagoon. Although I guess that's not Universal's,
Yeah.
And there is an EC Comics homage cover. That's the one I like right there. That's awesome.
Next up, we have Maria Levitt's Violent Flowers #2. Number one of this just came out last week. And in this, now we have the hunt for the vampire killer is underway. Cornelia, whose brother got killed, who is the guardian over all these supernatural creatures, have to hunt down who did this and who would be powerful enough to do this, along with her human, Anna, who she was kind of bestowed at the end of the first issue. And they must attend, I really like this, a supernatural party hosted by the sea creatures known as the Triplets, which just sounds fun. I hope it's an underwater party.
Yeah.
Then these triplets may know the location of the killer. So this kind of revenge story about vampires and supernatural creatures continues with #2. We've got our A cover here by Maria Levitt. We have the Maria Levitt tentacle variant, which makes sense with the what they said about this issue. And there's a Jesus Orellana.
Orellana.
That was really hard to get out variant as well.
Next up is TMNT Mutant Nation #2, and written by Tom Waltz, the artist by Vincenzo Federici. And in this one, Raphael helps Metalhead break into Area 51. And if you read the first issue, you know what that's all about. And Metalhead's motives for doing so are revealed. He's going to stop at nothing to gain the secrets of this dimension. I don't know why he wants those yet, so I guess we'll have to read to find out. But yeah, the first one was really cool. The first one was cool just because it felt like Roadhouse, but with Raphael. And then it's going to lead into this right here. And it doesn't. The solicitation didn't say anything about the Casey Jones backup story. I'm assuming that's going to continue from the first one, but especially because of this cover. But it didn't say anything about that. So this is our A cover, and then we have a Federici variant. That's your internal, it's your interior artist. Oh, there, yeah. Also, Casey Jones trains the Foot Clan, or trains in the Foot Clan dojo.
Next up, we've got cool covers and other comics. Beginning with the Ultimates #6, I want to highlight this one because this is going to be when your Ultimate team finally assembles all of the characters that we've been, the She-Hulk from one part, and we're going to be getting Hawkeye in the upcoming issue coming next week.
Yeah, I was going to try to get that cover out just to, make sure you don't miss the first appearance of the Ultimate Universe Hawkeye.
Yep.
That's going to come out next week, so we'll be talking about that on Monday, too.
All of those characters are going to be coming together to face off against Hulk, who is the most powerful and imposing member of the Maker's Council, which I can't wait for this. It's going to be all out. So we've got our A cover here. We also have, this is our Inyak Lee Ultimate Special variant. And we have this one, which is the Lionel Francis Yu Wraparound variant, which is really interesting because we don't really know any of those characters on the left side. But you can see your team of Ultimates over on the right side that I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I didn't notice this. They had the Human Torch, the Jim Hammond, which we haven't seen him in the main book yet. That we saw him in the Free Comic Book Day book. Yep. But I love how the Ultimates. I love looking at these covers that are coming soon because it really looks like the team is really filling out.
Yeah.
Instead of just being Cap and Iron Lad and Doom, it's like, oh, they're growing. That looks like the Avengers or the Ultimates. That's really cool. Next up is this is Avengers #20. And this one, while the Avengers are off dealing with Doctor Doom, who is now the Sorcerer Supreme, Black Panther journeys to the pocket dimension of Meridian Diadem to rescue the prisoners trapped there. Don't really know why they're trapped there. We'll probably see that in the Avengers #19 or That already came out, didn't it? I don't remember which one. There was a
don't remember which
two-part
one, right?
Hyperion story, but we'll figure it out. But we wanted to show you this really cool Fortnite Captain Jones variant, and then there's a Paco Medina. Here's another Thing variant, which I love the purple glow in his
I
all.
guess he's like a vibranium thing.
Yeah.
Which, get on that. Put
Yeah.
that in the story. 'Cause
Right.
That's cool. Next up, we've got this is for X-Men number 7. And how crazy is this? And so the new Fortnite is like, instead of just straight up giving you the characters, they're kind of amalgamations of Fortnite characters and X-Men or Marvel characters. Just really cool. In X-Men number 7, we're learning more about the Sentinel headquarters. Where did the defunct Sentinel come from? And more importantly, who was it after? So really cool in there. I can't wait to check it out. So this, like I said, is the Fortnite Meowtooth variant, and we also have the Roche Antonio Marvel 2-in-1 variant, which I really like. See, that one has Thing on it, and it's a Marvel 2-in-1 variant, so I'm not quite sure.
Well, I guess that's different though, because he's on the cover, whereas the other ones, it's actually like other characters
as
thingized, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess
It's
that's
weird
the
to do
difference.
them both at the same time
Yeah.
and not just go with one or the other, but I do really like this cover.
Yeah.
And I love Marvel 2-in-1.
Yeah,
That was a great series.
Yeah. Well, next up is Deadpool number 8, and again, I've been loving. I'm not the biggest Deadpool comic fan, but this series has been so cool. And this one is featuring Ellie, who is taking on the mantle of Deadpool. Although I think they called her Cutie Pool in the last issue, but she's still on her quest for revenge against Death Grip for killing her father. Although he may not be dead. I mean, I'm sure it's comics. He's not going to be forever. But Ellie, so to aid her in this quest for revenge, Ellie searches for an old friend of Deadpool's. But will she be able to find them? Who knows? But it's been really cool. I actually kind of like Ellie as Deadpool because you still get all the action, the regeneration, all that, but you don't. But you get she's a teenage girl, so she quips. But it's not just all of just the bizarre dialogue that Deadpool just like spouts off with. So it's kind of nice mix there. But we wanted to show you this really cool Derek Chew variant, and then there's an Epa Lupacino variant also with Princess and Taskmaster.
Next up, we have Star Wars Ahsoka. This is issue number 5, and one I wanted to spotlight this issue because this was one of the coolest episodes of the show where Ahsoka battled in the World Between Worlds with her former master Anakin. He was like flashing between being Anakin and Vader. That was all really cool. So you know this issue is going to be really interesting. Plus, there's just some really cool covers. So this is your A cover. And we also have a Phil Noto variant, which was awesome to see live action young Ahsoka with Hayden Christensen as the Anakin from the Clone Wars. And also want to bring up Star Wars The Battle of Jakku Insurgency Rising number 4. We just got number 1 of this. I think this one is bi-weekly. So, you know, you definitely want to jump on this as soon as possible because the train is leaving the station.
I love the Buccaneer boots. That almost looks like a female Deathstroke Mandalorian.
Yeah, it is a combination of a lot of things. I don't think we've met this character yet in the book.
Or that's not Mandalorian armor, is it?
No.
Okay.
It looks a lot like Zori Bliss's armor, so could be related to her. But in this one, Luke goes up against a new Inquisitor, which is dangerous because the Inquisitors were earlier in the timeline, and now Luke has one to face after the fall of the Empire. And this is our Qua variant.
Next up is Kid Venom number 3. And in this one, Kid Venom must return the mysterious child to her universe, but who stands in his way? And Kid just says Kid Venom's world is about to be ripped open. So I don't. Do we get the second issue? I think the second issue came out. I think maybe we didn't have time to cover it. But just want to let you know about the third issue and this really cool homage variant to by Philip Tan. The homage to I think it was the 2003 series or 20.
The Rick Remender.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it's the Venom number 1 cover though, where he was like this.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. And next up we have NYX number 5, continuing with this series as riots are brewing, where the Quiet Council and the Truth Seekers will come to an electric collision. Not a collusion. They come to a collision.
colluding with each other.
So Not sure what's going on there because, we're only just a couple issues in this series, but, it is speeding ahead. And this is our Swabby variant.
Well, next up is Spider Society number 4. This is the last issue of this miniseries, and we're just left with the question: can what is left of the Spider Society come together and save the multiverse? How can it not be saved with Spider Punk here, jamming out? So I wanted to show you this cool Spider Punk Daikuran cover.
Next up, we have Ultimate X-Men number 9. This issue sounds really interesting because in this one, it's Maystorm versus Surge. So it's kind of the battle of the electric powers.
Okay.
And Maystorm has questions about the cult Surge is part of and its connection to the mutants of the Ultimate Universe. So those are all things we would like answers for as well.
Right.
So we've got our Peach Momoko variant here, which is kind of a design variant. And we have a Ryan Gonzalez variant, which is really cool.
Next up is Venom number 39. I love this cover here. So in this one, Old Man Dylan, he's still continuing his journey through time. But this time he makes a deal with Loki. But it's during the time when Loki was at his most evil. And will this be the end of Dylan brought for good? Probably not. But still continuing. I want to say that it said this is his last stop. He's been traveling through time to try to build this weapon to save the future, and I think this may be his last trip through time on that. So, want to show you this really awesome Carlos Gomez cover, because Carlos Gomez is your artist on the new Venom series coming out when all of this craziness is over. And there's also a Derek Chu variant, and then we also have. Venom War Spider-Man number 4. I actually did not see this one in the list, so I don't have notes for it. But this is the last issue of the Spider-Man tie-in to Venom War. I thought it was. I've been enjoying this one. This is one of the better tie-ins in my opinion. So yeah, don't miss the last issue of this. This is an off.
That suit's really cool.
Yeah.
The kind of more Spider-Man version of Venom is cool.
Yeah, I like how Abanquel did it because he added a little bit more white highlights too. There's like white rims around the boots and white fingers and stuff. But I don't. We're not going to get that for very much longer. I don't think. Yeah.
But also, this is your, I guess, first cover appearance of this version of Venom because we don't know who's in the suit, but we know he's got the gold and everything. So, really cool in there. And this is like the foreshadow variant of things to come. Next up, we have Uncanny X-Men issue number 5. This sounds really fun as the Uncanny X-Men face an unstoppable force of evil and death that reveals a shocking secret. Sounds like you could put that on almost any issue of X-Men. But we wanted to show off, this is the really fun Javier Guerin The Thing variant with, I guess, your Nightcrawler thing.
And I love that we have seen Nightcrawler kind of sort of as Spider-Man in the Uncanny Spider-Man series, and now we're getting a look at him as Thing.
And the Bamps are all like little rock Bamps and stuff, which is cool. And we also have this really nice Luciano Vecchio Wolverine variant. Just feels like straight 90s X-Men 97.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like it came straight out of X-Men 97. I love that. That's awesome. Next up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 4. So this is the last issue of the ones that focus on just one turtle, and then the next issue number 5 is going to be kind of the start of all of them back together. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the first 4 issues is focused on a different turtle, but then number 5 they're going to be together. So this is the last one of the individual issues, written by Jason Aaron, art by Chris Burnham, and the fate of Donatello is finally revealed. We last saw him trapped in a mutant zoo. What book was that? That was a Free Comic
Day book. Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've seen him, but he was in that zoo being forced to fight rich men who were just looking for a thrill, and his mind was broken then. But will he be able to pull himself together to defeat the mysterious forces that gather against him? And I'm assuming it's the same mysterious forces that keep attacking the other turtles in those other issues too. So don't miss out on this issue. This is our A cover by Raphael Albuquerque, and there's also a Chris Burnham variant.
Who is your interior artist on this one? Yeah. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Interesting.
Very brittle looking turtle. Next up, we have Action Comics number 1073. We are continuing our weekly Action Comics run for this story arc, and it begins next week we'll be talking about on Monday, the beginning of this uh, Phantom Zone storyline that they're doing. And in this one, a race against time for Superman and Mon-El as Superman must face his past and a dramatic return to Krypton. So who knows how that's going to work out, but I'm very excited to see. And this is your super cool Ibrahim Mustafa variant. Next up, we got graphic novels and more, starting with
The Web of Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1. I'm so excited for this. Web of Spider-Man is one of the only runs I have the full set of, but I'm definitely still getting this. This is going to be $125. It's going to collect Web of Spider-Man numbers 1 through 34, and a few other issues as well, including the issues that are part of Kraven's Last Hunt. So you are going to get your full Kraven's Last Hunt story in here, plus a whole bunch of other cool Web of Spider-Man stuff. Started, I think, in '86 and ran through the late '90s. I mean, yeah, this is a cool series. How many
issues was it?
129.
129.
Plus annuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully they'll do them all in omnibuses. That'd be really cool. So we have this. This is our standard edition cover that you can find on Amazon and bookstores. We have a Greg LaRoque direct market variant that you can only find at comic shops like ours, and the one that I pre-ordered, the Mike Zeck variant. You can't not get that cover.
My favorite Spider-Man story of all time, which doesn't even star Spider-Man very much,
right?
But Kraven's Last Hunt is just the best.
It's there's Kraven is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and this was a lot to do with that. So yeah, this is also a direct market variant, which you can only find at comic shops.
Next up, we have an omnibus. This is Star Wars Legends Old Republic. And this is really cool. So, Star Wars Legends, this is all the stuff that's not in continuity anymore from the old Dark Horse series, but it's still fantastic to read. And I love this one because this collects Knights of the Old Republic 1 through 50. The series that spun out of one of my favorite video games of all time, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And this incorporated a lot of those elements and some of the characters. You got the origin of Darth Revan and Malak in here. Just some really, really cool stuff back before we had the High Republic. We had the Old Republic, which is set about 2,000 years before the original movies. So this has issues 1 through 50, which I believe is the whole thing. Knights of the Old Republic War 1 through 5, which was the miniseries. Knights of the Old Republic Handbook, and material from the Knights of the Old Republic / Rebellion one-shot, which I'm guessing you're just getting the Knights of the Old Republic part of that as well. It does say Volume 1, but I couldn't imagine them doing, unless they just included other stories from the era of the Old Republic. But I don't think this series lasted enough to get a second omnibus. So very interesting one there. But I can't wait for this. And these issues have been going up in price just because of the characters that first appeared in this and everything. So this is our Ching cover, and I believe this is your interior artist. And then there's also a direct market edition as well.
This is the Doom Treasury edition. So this is going to be $29.99, and this is a trade paperback that collects the very cool Doom one-shot that came out a few months back. It was kind of set in the future that featured Doom and Valeria Richards going up against Galactus. And what a book that was, because it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it didn't really tie into anything. It just was a story about Doom going up against Galactus, and it ended too soon. There needed to be there needs to be a continuation of that. So that very awesome story is collected in here, plus Fantastic Four number 583 and Runaways number 1. So just two other cool Doom stories all together. So if you missed Doom the first time, or if you just want it in a shiny new printing, you can grab this trade paperback again for $29.99.
And next up we have Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime Gallery Edition hardcover. So this is going to be that one shot by Jason Aaron that was so good. Also with the reprint of Christmas on Bear Mountain that was the original first appearance of Uncle Scrooge, all in a oversized gallery edition that is going to be $34.99. And yeah, this sold out. It was a lot of fun. So we've got our Alex Ross cover here, and then we have our J. Scott Campbell one as well. This is a direct market, so you can only get it at stores like ours.
And it's funny they're doing this one as an oversized gallery because I've got there's a Daredevil and a Weapon X one and Spider-Man and Captain America, all these ones, and then Uncle Scrooge
Yeah.
to go with it. That's like so funny that they chose this for that format.
Yeah, but this was a big issue when it came out it feels like a couple of weeks ago, but
Yeah, it
it
was a
was
few months ago.
few
Yeah.
months ago.
This is DC Finest Catwoman Lifelines. So again, we've talked about these before. We still haven't gotten one yet, but the DC Finest line of books are very similar to Marvel's Epic Collections. This one is going to be $39.99, and it collects Catwoman Volume 1, 1 through 4. So that was like the early 90s. It was the very first solo Catwoman book, and then Catwoman Volume 2, 1 through 12, which also came out in the early 90s by Jim Balent. Everybody is familiar with that's. I don't know if that was a cover. I don't remember, but everybody's familiar with that version and that image of Catwoman. So it's that era, that early '90s era of Catwoman. So it has those two different volumes, and then a few other Catwoman appearances from around that same time, all in one nice trade paperback.
And next up, we've got some other printings. I want to spotlight these. One, because they're really cool covers, but because the series has been great. So this is Universal Monsters Frankenstein #1, the second printing for that. And there's also the Universal Monsters Frankenstein. Well, boop, 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 boop. There we go. It did not want to respond. This is the Universal Monsters Frankenstein #2 of 4, second printing for that one as well. And this has been a great series, so if you missed out on any of the first printings of it, you can grab the second printings. And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can place your pre-orders for these books we just talked about, plus so much more that is on the website that we did not have time to talk about, but there's still more #1s, there's more variants, there's more of everything over there. So run, don't walk to your phone that's probably sitting on the couch and go on there and pre-order some of these. It really helps us out know how much to order, what people are interested in, so we know what to order up on, and to make sure you don't miss out on any of the books. When they come out, they're all there waiting for you. Or if you get them shipped to you, they will be on their way when they are released. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
See ya.